Jane here. If you're suffering from IBS, you've likely tried everything you can think of, from the low FODMAP diet to medication to get relief from your symptoms and the pain, bloating, constipation and diarrhea, which feels like it's controlling your life. In this video, you're going to hear about 5 amazing success stories achieved by using a 100% natural approach to treating IBS, which you may not have heard about before. Now, this approach is gut-directed hypnotherapy. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jane, and as a psychotherapist, gut-directed hypnotherapist and wellness coach, I help people with irritable bowel syndrome beat their symptoms without restrictive diets and without using medication for the rest of their lives. So if you want more content on this topic, then subscribe to my channel and click the bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. And before I begin, I just want to quickly let you know about my free ultimate guide to IBS gut pain, where I share with you the 5 reasons behind your IBS pain which you've probably never been told about. You'll find the link to get your copy of this guide just down below in the description. If you're new to learning about gut-directed hypnotherapy and how it can help you regain control over your IBS, then definitely make sure you check out my other videos. You'll find some useful links just down below in the description. So without further ado, let's dive in as I share more about this proven approach and mind-blowing results it can achieve and how it can work for you too. IBS is what we call a functional bowel disease, meaning there is no structural damage to your bowel. Now, the good news is that functional bowel problems such as IBS can actually be influenced by the mind through something called the brain-gut interaction or brain-gut axis. Your brain-gut axis is essentially the two-way communication highway linking your brain and your gut together, and is how your brain and gut communicate with each other. When you experience IBS symptoms, what's really happening is that this communication highway is just not working as it should. Your brain and gut essentially aren't on the same page anymore. This is where gut-directed hypnotherapy comes in, as it works to address this communication problem directly. You see, gut-directed hypnotherapy works by helping you learn mental skills and techniques to develop control over the physiological mechanisms influencing your gut. These mechanisms are not normally under conscious control. In addition, hypnotherapy can also retrain your brain to reinterpret or ignore incoming sensory signals such as pain, thereby affecting how much or how little pain you feel. Now, gut-directed hypnotherapy was first developed by Professor of Gastroenterology, Professor Peter Horwell, almost 40 years ago in the United Kingdom. Since that time, it has been used successfully to treat functional bowel disorders, including IBS. Today, I'm sharing with you just how effective gut-directed hypnotherapy can be by sharing 5 amazing research studies. My hope is that you no longer see your IBS as a life sentence and that there is definitely a way to treat your symptoms with long-term results. So let's dive in. Success story number 1. Back in 1984, the earliest formal study of hypnosis treatment for IBS was undertaken, and even today remains one of the best studies in this research area, as it was thoroughly placebo-controlled and showed dramatically greater improvement from hypnosis treatment above the placebo. The actual study itself was made up of 30 patients, all with severe IBS symptoms that had been unresponsive to other forms of treatment and were randomly chosen to receive either 7 sessions of hypnotherapy or 7 sessions of psychotherapy plus placebo pills. So what were the results? Well, the psychotherapy group showed a small but significant improvement in abdominal pain and distension, meaning visible bloating, and in general well-being, but not bowel activity. The hypnotherapy patient group, however, showed a dramatic improvement in all IBS symptoms, and this group also showed no relapses during the 3-month follow-up period. Success story number 2. Now, this study was undertaken in 1996 and was a study set up to quantify the effects of severe irritable bowel syndrome on quality of life and economic functioning, and to really assess the impact of hypnotherapy on these features. This study compared 25 severe IBS patients treated with hypnosis with 25 patients with similar symptom severity treated with other methods. These results speak for themselves, with the hypnotherapy group reporting less severe abdominal pain, bloating, bowel habits, nausea, gas, urinary symptoms, fatigue, and back pain compared with the control patients. In addition to significant improvements in all central IBS symptoms, hypnotherapy recipients had fewer visits to the doctors, lost less time from work than the control group, and rated their quality of life more improved. In fact, those patients who had been unable to work prior to treatment resumed employment in the hypnotherapy group, but not in the control group. This study is notable in that it quantified the substantial economic benefits and improvements in health-related quality of life, which results from hypnotherapy for IBS on top of clinical symptom improvement. Success story number 3. In this 2003 study, 204 IBS patients treated with a course of hypnotherapy completed questionnaires about symptoms, quality of life, anxiety, and depression before, immediately after, and up to 6 years following treatment. Of all treated patients, 71% showed improvements in response to treatment initially, and of those, 81% were still fully improved when recontacted up to 5 years later. Quality of life, anxiety and depression scores were still significantly improved at the follow-up. Patients also reported fewer doctor visits and less medication use long-term after hypnosis treatment. These results indicate that for most patients, the benefits from hypnotherapy last at least 5 years. Success story number 4. In 2018, a slightly different type of study was undertaken, and as the first of its kind, looked at whether the composition of gut bacteria, otherwise known as your microbiome, in the bowel of IBS patients changes after hypnotherapy. 38 IBS patients of all IBS subtypes, this means diarrhea dominant or constipation dominant or mixed, were treated with 10 weekly sessions of gut-directed hypnotherapy, and stool samples were collected before and after treatment for analysis of their gut bacteria. So what were the results? Well, on average, the bowel symptoms of IBS were significantly reduced after hypnotherapy treatment, and physiological distress and well-being also improved significantly. Adequate relief of IBS symptoms were reported by 84% of patients after the hypnosis treatment. However, what's really interesting is that there was no significant change found in the intestinal gut microbiota. Now, the findings of this novel study suggest, perhaps not surprisingly, that hypnosis improves IBS mostly via effects that are relatively independent of microbiota composition, most likely through alterations in the central nervous system's control of the gut. This is fascinating because it challenges the way you think about having to use restrictive diets and medications and supplements to create improvements in IBS symptoms. In fact, this study demonstrates that gut-directed hypnotherapy works independently from your diet. This key outtake is further highlighted in the next success story when comparing hypnosis with the low FODMAP diet. And finally, success story number 5. Now, the final study I'm covering in this video took place in 2016 and was set up to study and compare the effects of gut-directed hypnotherapy to the low FODMAP diet for relieving IBS symptoms. This was a randomized control trial that took place over 6 weeks. 74 patients with moderate irritable bowel syndrome were randomly assigned to one of these treatment groups. Group 1 was the hypnotherapy group, where 25 patients received 6 weekly 1-hour sessions by a trained hypnotherapist. Audio recordings of hypnotherapy were provided, and the patients were asked to listen to them daily. Group 2 was the diet group, where 24 patients strictly followed the low FODMAP diet, eliminating food compounds known to cause IBS. A qualified dietitian provided instruction and adherence monitored by regular phone calls. And Group 3 was a combined hypnosis and diet group where 25 patients received both treatments. Now, if you've tried the low FODMAP diet to get relief from your IBS symptoms, let me know just down below in the comments. With so many sufferers of IBS believing that their only options are taking long-term medication with side effects or the highly restrictive and stressful low FODMAP diet, the results of this study could be life-changing. What they found was that hypnotherapy had the same effect as the low FODMAP diet for alleviating gastrointestinal symptoms. In both treatment groups, 70% of patients improved in quality of life and a range of individual symptoms of IBS, such as bloating, diarrhea, constipation, cramping, and abdominal pain. These benefits were maintained 6 months after treatment. Interesting to note that combining treatment of dietary intervention and hypnotherapy did not actually benefit patients more than individual treatments. This was surprising since the two treatments were believed to act via different mechanisms in the body, and so effects were expected to add to one another. Now, this study also found that hypnotherapy was associated with psychological benefits, and patients were seen as less anxious and depressed in this group, but not in the low FODMAP group. These findings agree with data from other clinical trials and support the value of hypnotherapy in treating IBS. So how can these success stories help you? Well, if you suffer from IBS, these studies bring good news. They demonstrate that hypnotherapy is a powerful treatment and that gastrointestinal symptoms can be treated without needing to change what you eat or take lots of medication. In fact, a 6-week course of hypnotherapy improved symptoms in 70% of patients. So if you have struggled with dietary treatments or found little benefit from them, hypnotherapy should be considered a clinically effective alternative. Now, if you want to know more about how I work with clients, then I want you to head over to my website and learn how I use gut-directed hypnotherapy in my work and about my IBS program, the Calm Gut Method. You can find the link just down below in the description. Also, if you want to join a community where you get to ask your questions and actually get advice from myself, then I want you to join me in my free Facebook group. You can join that group by clicking the link below this video. In the meantime, leave a comment below this video with a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 with which success story you loved the most. I would love to hear what you think. And if you found this video helpful, then make sure you subscribe to my channel and like this video if you want to see more content like this one. And do share this video with anyone you know who needs some hope and needs to know that they don't have to live life struggling with their IBS symptoms. In the meantime, I will leave you with these 2 other videos with more insights, tips and strategies to help you start living life on your terms and not your bowels. For now, I'll see you in the next video.